So I'll call the meeting to order. This is the regular Board of Finance meeting, December 17th, 2025. And we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so first is public speak. So I'll just go around, see who I see. Jerry Cremay.
Okay, there.
I'm just coming to observe. Thank
Very
you,
good.
Rob.
Good to hear from you. All right. Well, Jeff, you're sort of a member of joining us ex parte, whatever it is. So if you want to speak now, fine. If not, I'll pass over you.
All good.
Okay. Joanne. You're muted. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, got it. Thank you. Hi, everyone. Happy holidays. I just wanted to come on and listen as always. And I'm glad to hear at the beginning of the talk that you're trying to look into getting the video. I know I had sent an email of concern. I don't think, Rob, thank you for the message that you got back to me. Yeah, I just think it's important, the history of the town. And that was a transition meeting. So when you want to hear what people say, myself included, I just kind of wanted to review it. So I'm so glad you're looking into it and best of luck tonight.
Thank you. And Tenny J.
Hey. Hi, I'm Jody Tenney. I'm the new finance director for AES. I figured I'd change my name in there. Hello. I'm just coming tonight. I know you have the bathroom project on your agenda. So even though I'm new, I'm already got my feet wet. So I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any questions. And I did want to just update you all. I know Robert, you as chair, are in contact with Valerie frequently, but just some things to let the Board of Finance know that we're working on, and with the town. We're working with the town to try to get the Fuss and O'Neill invoices paid. So we appreciate the Board of Finance's support in helping us get those paid. There are outstanding invoices that we would like to get paid before the end of the close of the tax year. The audit corrective language, we're still waiting and hope to get that soon to finalize the last audit. The seed money, which is the special education, it's enrichment money or enhancement money. And the town received that over a month and a half ago, and we're still waiting for that money to be transferred over. And we appreciate any support or information on any of those issues. So thank you.
Okay. I think that's what we have for public speak. Additions and deletions to the agenda. I do have one myself, but if anybody else has something, speak now, please.
I had a couple things. One of the things was the corrective action plan. Actually, I was curious about that and the details of that. And I also wanted to try and add expectations for monthly financials going forward from AES. We tried to address that last year and didn't really get very far on it. So I'd like to add that to the agenda as well.
Okay, so let's do 6A. We'll talk about the corrective action plan, and we'll make 6B status of monthly financials from AES. And I would like to add a 6C, a discussion of actually what Jody just mentioned, the Fuss and O'Neill billing that's now, I think, pretty far in arrears. There was a discussion, it was an email that went around the last couple days between Valerie and Jeff McGuire and me and Caitlin, Board of Ed Chair, with a request from Valerie to get those bills paid. And one of the responses we did get from Jim was, and I think I knew this already, we're down a treasurer and our assistant treasurer is out because of a death in the family, which has added a bit of a complication to paying things. So I wanted to talk through that. And, in Valerie's email, she had a proposal for how to handle it and get it moving sooner rather than later. So I wanted to bring that up and bring it before the board and see what everybody thought of it. So that's 6C. We can also in that discussion talk about the seed grant money as well. So basically, AES billing / fund transfer request regarding the seed money. If there's nothing further, I forget now. Actually, I apologize since I am a little new in the role. I think we might want to quickly vote on those. So to move to add those to the agenda.
I'll move that we add both those items to the agenda.
3. Yep.
Three items, I'm sorry.
Yep.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor? Any discussion?
Aye.
Sorry. Yeah. Aye.
Aye.
Nick, I can't hear.
Yep, aye.
Okay, great. All right.
That's, everybody voted aye.
Very good. 7-0. So let's go on to the town administrator's report. What you got for us, Jim?
Okay, so what you have in the packet is the report from the Board of Selectmen's meeting. I obviously have some updates to that, so I'll read through it and just give you updates. So under the job postings, we have moved along fairly quickly from the 8th. Tomorrow, so there's 3 job positions, as you know, the assistant assessor, the treasurer, and the town administrator are the 3 positions. We have tomorrow, and we've got some good feedback. As I mentioned, we got a lot of them. That's not a statement on the quality of them because we've put quite a few aside that really weren't qualified, that just kind of threw their name in the hat. But we did get some quality applicants. So tomorrow, I believe it's 5. We have 5 assistant assessor candidates coming in for interviews, and then 1 on Monday. So that position, which is critical on for a number of reasons. One mainly is the moving just that office forward and the grant list forward. That hopefully we'll find someone in the next day or 3. The treasurer's position, we've narrowed it down a bit. Jeff had looked at them, I looked at them, and I think we had Kate. Kate was off today, but we were shooting for some Monday interviews for that position as well. So, and those are the main 2, I think, for as town operations to get filled. The town administrator's one has some hurdles to jump over, namely the selection committee, which is made up of 2 Board of Selectmen members and 1 of your members, needs to get together and choose from the public, the applicants from the public who are neither elected or appointed town officials, and take a look at those. As far as I know, last Kate looked at, we only had 1 person. It was in River East last week. She may have gotten more in the last day or today when she was out. And certain people are going to kind of beat the bushes for some folks that they might know. If you do know somebody, have them get their application into Kate. So, because that's the source of it in the newspaper ad. But once you folks get together, you have a pool of people, you'll get a committee of 5, and then you can start looking at, I think we have about 15 or maybe as much as 17 applicants for that position. Once again, if I had to say, there's probably about a handful of viable ones, but that search committee will deal with that probably after the new year. Any questions on jobs, or just keep going?
Jim, Jeff McGuire, I have one thing, and this is for the board members. I would appreciate if a board member, Board of Finance member might be available for the interviews. This was only just done yesterday as far as a date, but we're trying to do this quickly, and so it's Monday. And I don't know, Jim, if you had 3 interviews, but if somebody is available Monday morning, I would like your board to vote on someone to come and sit in on the interviews.
We already did that last time, Jeff. I was elected to do that.
No, you were elected for the town administrator one. This is for the treasurer.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
That's
zoned
all
out.
No problem. Yeah, I got you. So if somebody has free time Monday morning,
I'm willing to do it.
Okay.
Get on that's something, Robert, that you need to vote
I'm
on.
available.
No, I understand. I'm gonna put it out there, make sure that, if Kim's the only one who's available and interested, and then we'll just vote on that. If there's anyone else who wants to throw their name in the ring, then, go ahead.
I'm around on Monday morning if need be.
Okay.
More the merrier, actually, Robert,
Okay.
because
Well-
it's listen, this is your position, your board position. You guys have, obviously the Board of Selectmen has interaction with the treasurer, but the Board of Finance is really in direct control of the treasurer. Reality, she reports to you or they report to you. So if you have more than one person, I think that would be a positive to have come to the interviews. So
Sounds good to me. So I'll just go ahead and, just in the interest of moving things along, I'll move that we take a vote on sending Kim and Heather to these interviews on Monday morning. I assume those two are going to need to get a little bit more detail on when. Jim, get them in the loop.
It's actually when and if, because when Kate comes in tomorrow, I didn't receive any emails. We were hoping for Monday. I'll find out tomorrow and I'll loop them in.
Okay, yeah, Monday happens to be kind of a bad day for me, so, but Heather and Kim are more than capable of representing our board. So,
I'll
anybody
second the
have any
motion.
you second the motion? Anybody have any discussion on that, or should we just move to the vote? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Did you vote, Kim, or are you abstaining because you're one of the people?
I can abstain. I'll abstain.
Okay. So is that, I think it's 610. So, okay, so that's good. We'll have some representation there. Hopefully those interviews come together. We definitely need a treasurer for sure. So good to hear. So, and now we are still in the town administrator report. So let's go back to that and hit the next couple items.
Okay, so I've been working, as you know, we have a new resident trooper. Trooper Cook is out on medical leave. And one of the things, Eric, we never had a chance to really go over is the gun permit process. I went through the process of giving the application out and telling folks what they need to do. But then the process kind of goes over for the fingerprint background check side to the state trooper. And I wasn't getting many confirmations on that. And a couple people called about their status. So it turns out Trooper Anderson was not getting access to the approved background checks. So we're kind of working through that, and I expect we will work through it now that we found kind of the issue and the problem. We'll move forward. So the permit slowdown won't be a slowdown very, very much longer. Bunker Hill, that's old news now, right? The Bunker Hill Bridge is open. So the real update on that, excuse me, is about what's left to do there. And it really is minor stuff. The weather changed fairly quickly right around before and right around Thanksgiving. And then, of course, the snow came. But it's really minor stuff. You're talking about striping, which they can't do in cold weather. So they do have some temporary, strips down the middle. Seeding to grow grass where grass needs to grow. And, of course, the main one is paving of two drainage swales coming off Route 6 and into the bridge. By the time they got ready for that, the asphalt plants were closed, and then the weather was cold, not good for paving, and then the snow came. So that'll be taken care of. Those are the three main items for the spring. The Veterans Field Grant, I'm trying to think of where we left it last time, but we were under a bit of a pressure to get prices locked in, particularly for the playground. They were going to go up, I think it was December 3rd or so. And we managed to kind of placate the contractor by giving them a PO, a purchase order for the amount of the equipment. They're now asking by the end of the year, which we will give them, just the purchase order for the balance of the project. That is a entirely grant-driven section of that project, $250,000. I've been working with DECD, and we've gotten them what they requested, the budget, a project overview and a resolution from the Board of Selectmen. And I'm waiting on them to review those and get me a letter of intent and a financial assistance agreement. That's the more critical of the two pots of money because it's a legislative appropriation which needs to be expended by June 30th for the purposes of DECD. That's the Department of Economic and Community Development. For the purposes of their processes, it probably should be spent by May 31st. I don't anticipate us having any problem once the weather turns out.
I had a question about this one.
Yeah, sure.
So I got a copy of the proposal summary, which looks like it was like 884,000, and then the first purchase order was 204,000.
Right.
So I was just wanting some clarification on why the next purchase order is 705, because 883 minus the 204 is only.
It's actually not. It's going to be 679, 115.20.
Okay, that's the number I had. So it's not
Yeah.
the 705 that's listed here.
No,
Thank you.
I think I don't know. Maybe the difference was. I'm not sure why the difference was. That's
Okay,
the
that's
number
what
I talked about with the contractor.
Okay, that's what I had, 679, 115.20.
Good.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
And then of course,
Yeah, I have a question.
yeah, sure.
So the total grant, can we just break it out for what the total grant is, unless I just am missing it? And how much the taxpayer amount will be for the whole project? The expected amount?
So we're talking $750,000 in grant money. That is $500,000 in a steep grant, which we have plenty of time to spend, and the $250,000 legislative appropriation, which we can draw down on as soon as we get those two documents executed with DECD. That has to be expended by, let's say, May 31st. So it's the balance of that whatever number you had.
83 minus the 750.
Yeah.
Okay,
And there's
that's,
also
so it's,
there's a minor $10,000 grant from the Hartford Foundation. Some of it is in-kind work from Public Works. I don't have the budget. I don't know if the budget's attached there, but I don't have the budget in front of me. But there's the cleaning and grubbing that was done by Public Works. So that's not direct, it's indirect kind of taxpayer dollars.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions on that? The Senior Transportation, also known as the Municipal Hub grant. We were given elevations and some building drawings. There was a little confusion. We met with the contractor on Jeff and I did last week. There was a little confusion on the budget and that 83,000 may or may not be accurate. What it was in the original budget submitted for the grant, Eric had used the cost of a kit, which was a little less than the stick-built version that's actually going to be done. And we were confused because 83,000 sounded like a lot of money just to kind of expand the second floor of the building, which is what the change was. We were going from kind of a regular roof, which was at grade level like the one is now, to a higher second floor to use for storage. So Jeff and I are working on that with the contractor. So I would just hold off on that. Other than that grant is moving forward. I've been in contact with the person from the state. We gave them an updated resolution, which was required, and we're going to move forward on that one. Jeff, do I have that about right?
Yeah, I believe you have the amount right. I believe we have, this is me. I believe we have an issue with this project. We're going to have to sit there and find some additional funding. Jim was right. Listen, the way that this was initially quoted out and the initial grant was awarded with the amount, the current building is 2 floors. It comes out to grade level on the parking lot that goes on the other side of Center Street. And the building that was initially Eric spec'd, as Jim said, was a kit, but the roof ended up at the line of the upper parking lot so that somebody would be able to step out and walk up onto the roof, which is not acceptable. And then the other concept was, I was asking the contractor and Jim, like, why are we not putting a second floor on that building so that we can have storage for the town? Because the town and the organizations have we always have problems with where to store anything. So the rec commission has problems with storing stuff. The seniors have problems where they're storing stuff. And so the concept was do a second something that doesn't have heat or hot water. And you sit there and you would put a new building. We're going to have monetary problems with it. So that's what Jim and Jeff Murray and I were working on with the contractor to figure out what would potentially be needed. And then we'll come back to your board and we'll figure out how we might be able to get it done.
Okay.
That's it.
The focus shift from Bunker Hill to Long Hill. It's kind of a two-prong at the beginning, two-phase thing. The same inspection consulting firm, SLR, who did Bunker Hill, was selected. This is before I came on, with the state DOT, the state's consultant, and Eric, and came to the conclusion that they did a great job, and they picked SLR again from the four possible firms. They are now submitting documents to DOT. It's kind of a back and forth. They're submitting resumes, whatever DOT requires in paperwork for them to move forward. The second part of that is on the 25th of November, a legal notice and an RFP was put out for contractors to do the work. I've been getting some inquiries, and I know very little about bridge construction, so I've been passing them on as I'm supposed to DOT and VHB, which is the state consulting firm, and they are answering the bidders. That will probably, the successful bidder will probably be chosen sometime in mid-January. They still haven't submitted their bids yet. They have till, I think it's January 9th, that we will all get together and review those. So sometime in mid to late January, a firm will be chosen. Just to give you a sense of things, there's a number of procedural meetings that have to take place in the DOT process. So probably in April, that project will begin in earnest. There's always an issue, at least there was last time, with utilities and the movement of the poles have to be relocated. And that was a delay, I think a 6-week delay with Bunker Hill. We've done our part. We've cleared the trees out over there so the utilities can be moved. I don't think it was Eversource though. I remember Eric saying it was Frontier was the delay. So hopefully that won't be an issue this time. But look for that project to get underway in earnest in the spring. Before I left, Eric, yeah.
Again, that project's 100% funded by the feds and the state.
Right.
Right.
Before we left, Eric said, we're kind of up, keep an eye on the fuel prices. December is a good month for heating oil and particularly diesel fuel for next fiscal year. And he says if it goes below 260, grab it. It went below 260. So I did sign a contract with Dime Oil for both heating and diesel. And you see we're lower than last year on both counts. Of your interest, I don't know why it says contract with, but I did get the department budgets. Kate did to the respective departments. That a lot of them haven't gotten back yet. If anyone has returned their budgets for the upcoming budget year, it's been the commissions that have kind of small dollar amounts. But we'll start looking at them. January 8th is the return date for that. This is an issue that's no longer an issue. I had some trouble with M&T Bank, mainly on ACH payments, which were required and they're quite substantial, but they still had Eric listed as the global administrator, and that took quite a bit of time to get done. Yes.
Jim, apparently Nick got kicked out into a waiting room. Can you?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry. Okay. He is back.
Okay, great.
Okay. So yeah, that's not a problem. And every once in a while, there's a little glitch with M&T though. That we have to kind of get on with their Treasury Department and work through it, but it's okay. This was for the first selectman. If you're interested, the cannon's wheels are on the cannon, and they look nice. The Amish did a great job, is what I can say. We did have our first snowstorm of the year, so maybe your comments on how it went. Eric Johansson is the new Public Works Director. You may or may not have met him yet. And the night of the snow, he did go out and salt. They waited a little bit for the snow to kind of build up, not to do multiple passes, but let the snow get on the ground and start doing it. So I'm just curious if you folks have any questions or issues that I can get back to him on. But then, the snow stopped and just got frigid. They were doing mostly salting with the cold weather, and if there was any melting, the ice in the parking lots, at least for our buildings. Yep. And I did speak with John Guskowski from Taishi, our planner. Their main job, I would say, is to get the plan of conservation and development ready to go. They have just, in fact, today, handed me a draft. And so they've invited members of the Board of Selectmen to attend a February, I think it's 17th meeting, to sit with planning and zoning and give some comments on that. So, it's something, I'm not really sure the last time you folks did that. It's supposed to be done every 10 years. So that's moving along too. It's an important document too. When you're, for example, applying for grants, they like to hear that it's in line, whatever you're doing is in, conjunction with the plan of conservation development. And if the POCD is not up to date, you really can't say that. And that's what I have.
Great.
And if you have any questions for me.
Sounds like we can hopefully expect in our January meetings, just towards the end of the month, that we're going to have some real preliminary budget requests to look at.
You will.
Good, because I was starting to wonder. I'm glad you addressed that, because that was one of my questions I was going to ask anyway. Obviously, given the charter changes and everything, the first time we went through the new process was last year, and it can be pretty tight. So I wanted to make sure we were on track to actually start getting a spreadsheet together and looking at something so we can go through it, get Public Works to come and talk to us, get, as usual, that's how we always handle it. Each department comes and does a little explanation of what they need in their budget, what they want for their budget. We do the fire department, we do Public Works, et cetera, et cetera. So the sooner that starts, the happier I'll be.
Yes, your January meeting is a bit late this year. It's the 21st, it looks like. And those are due on the 8th. So we should have a nice, give you a head start on it.
Is it the 21st or the 28th?
You're the 3rd?
I think we might be the 28th. I mean, at least that's what I put in my phone. If I've got the wrong date, please somebody correct me.
Are you the 3rd Wednesday? Or the 4th?
Well,
Fourth, we're early this month.
because of the holiday.
Because of the holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're usually right at the end of the month.
Oh, so it's 28, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Gives you even more time. But then,
Yeah.
then we really got to sink our teeth into it and get moving. Does anybody else have questions for Jim on the report?
No, thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
Appreciate it.
And
Oh, and
we'll, if I don't have Heather and/or Kim, I think I do have yours, email addresses, please send them to townadministrator@andoverct.org so I can arrange Monday.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So the next thing on the agenda is old business budget to actual review. Actually, Jim, is there anything you're aware of that's brewing here, Jim or Jeff, that we should focus on, or are we looking pretty good?
That I don't know if Jeff wants to chime in, but again, the finance office has been, not only do we have the death in the family this week, As you know, the treasurer's been gone since the 8th.
Yeah.
And actually, Chris had a medical procedure the week before. So, it's been about a week and a half. So I don't know. I don't think we've seen anything from them, Jeff.
Okay. Did we lose?
Anything with the, I don't know if you got the check register. Did you?
We got the check register, yeah.
Okay.
There was one question on the check register, and this is one of those stupid things, just like, what? I think it's page 13. It comes up as it's about 3/4 of the way down. It says spring. It's right under the RAM and AES for $9,450. I'm just wondering, if anybody knows, what is spring?
I can find out for you. I don't know.
Bill, I had asked that question at one of the last meetings,
Oh,
and I can't remember, but it wasn't something that it was just an odd name for a standard expense. But
Gotcha.
we'll get you the information, and Jim can
Yeah.
send you an email on it.
it's just more of a
Yeah.
curiosity than I'm worried about anything. It's just very curious.
That's honestly what you guys should be doing all the time.
Right.
Whatever you're curious about or whatever you're thinking about, you should be getting to Jim and the treasurer's office and the board of selectmen and saying, what is this for? So that we're all aware. I mean,
Absolutely.
I personally believe that check register is something you guys should look at, just like the board of selectmen needs to look at it. And we really need to get all the same information in our packets so that everybody has the same info, and anybody has a question on a specific transaction can at least get the information. And if they need to drill down further, they can get more information.
Yep, I agree. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you.
I have a question. It's not big, but I did notice it in the budget to actual. And I see that we're over in contract software. It's item, and I can't remember how much we were over by. I just remember looking at it and wondering about it. So let me see if I can find it again.
Do you know what line item
It's-
that? Oh.
It's 111,438. I gotta figure out where I found it. So it must be at the
There it
top,
is. I
yeah.
see it. It's under tax collector, contract software maintenance.
Yeah, yes.
Over
How
by
much?
30, almost 3,700.
Yeah, so I'm just curious if Jim, if you were aware of what that was about yet, and if not, if we could maybe just find out what that was.
And that's under tax collector. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if we're going over budget and there's a good reason for it, we need to know that for budgeting for the next cycle. That's for sure.
And for transfer purposes, because
Yeah.
we will need to come back to your board.
Yep.
In April and ask you for a transfer from another under budget line item to cover that.
Yep. We always do that at the end of the year. Yep. I get it.
I mean, there will be also multiple line items like what we talked about at our last meeting related to the community senior center staffing line items will be over budget at the end of the year. And we'll be coming to the board and asking for transfers on those types of things. And those are the types of things you should call out early. The sooner you know about it, the better off you're going to be. And the better we're going to be for, like you said, Robert, for budgeting purposes moving forward.
Yeah. I mean, if we've sorted out how we want the staffing at that building, we need to budget for that, not go off last year's, which was insufficient. By the way, I think we lost Nick again. Do you see him?
I'm
Jim?
sorry.
I don't know what happened. I don't know why
I'm looking at the other
he's
screen.
getting
I don't
kicked
see
out,
it.
apparently.
Maybe is he on a phone? I think
Not
he's-
anymore. He was
Oh.
he was clearly at home. He had his video up.
Yeah, he was on. He's off now.
There he is.
Was.
I'm right here. It's on my computer. I'm sorry. My internet kicked me out for a second and then it just came right back on, but it kicked me out of the meeting. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, okay. If your
Sorry,
Wi-Fi
guys.
went down. Yeah.
It's okay.
Okay.
we want that to happen once a year. Just once.
Yeah, we'll give you the mulligan. Okay. Anything else on the budget actual or check register?
I have a question on the check register. And
Yep.
it might just be because I don't know, but what is Abby's Contracting LLC?
It's on that same page.
Yeah, it's a couple under the
Yeah.
spring.
Yeah.
Was that page 13?
I don't know, because I printed it out with two
Oh.
of the check register.
Oh, yes, Abby's Contracting LLC. You know what? I had a question on that one too. So Abby's Contracting.
I will look for it myself. Get
It's on
back to it
page
all.
2 of 5. If you look at the check register, on page 2 of 5 towards the
2 of
bottom.
5, yeah.
Right,
Right.
page 13 overall.
13 overall, yes.
1, 2, 3, 4 below spring.
Yep.
I will find out.
Thank you.
All right.
Do you know what Barton and Logwadice LLC is? That would be on the next page at the top. Barton and
Yeah,
Logwadice,
they're-
9,000.
They're working
Okay.
on that, the trail behind the town hall and the school. Perry,
Yeah.
The connectivity project.
yes.
That was interesting because that came up. They did actually. They were at and gave a presentation to the Board of Ed on that at their last meeting.
But they was a successful contractor chosen a while ago. I'm not sure if the town did that or that was more of a Prague thing.
Engineering services done by the town.
Okay.
And that's the Percy Cook Trail, like you said, not necessarily the connectivity grant, Robert, but the Percy Cook Trail that Eric has a grant lined up for the construction of that project, or Eric had a grant lined up for the construction of that project. And that is the engineering firm that's doing the analysis of the grade and how to do it so that it's not too steep and it's as far away from the school property as we can get it.
Yep, that was the substance of the discussion at the BOE meeting.
Jim, on page 15, about midway down, on November 19th, there was a transfer. Do you know what that's for? A transfer of $3,498.73. I'm
It doesn't say
assuming,
transfer to what? Yeah.
yeah, from where to where? Yeah, just curious what that is.
Okay.
You're going to have to find that out, but that's one of those transfers that the treasurer would make, from the cash and the general fund to a permanent fund, and probably should be in the memo so that you can see what's up. So that's something that, Jim, we need to talk to the finance department so that there's a little bit more information in the details on that check register on items like that.
Yeah, that would be good if we could get a memo column.
Now, can you look over to the right? Does the list that they give you give the account numbers that certain things are coming out of or going to?
No,
No.
Nope,
no.
no.
It-
Yeah. Then guess
Well, there's
what?
a number.
We need
Wait,
to
there
get-
is a column says num, and
Yeah.
there are numbers there, but not for that transfer.
Not for that one.
That's
Yeah.
blank.
And there's another transfer later at 11:30 too, and it's the same. It's a much bigger transfer.
That's probably something that moves between the
That goes,
interest earning account and the general fund. So,
Yeah, I mean it's over $1 million, so it has to be.
that's
Yeah.
actually something that we all need to work at. That
No.
you can get better information on that report across.
report.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which report? I'm sorry, I
Sorry,
couldn't
the
hear.
check- the check register getting
Notes section.
a memo or notes or something column to let us
Right.
know what a transfer of 1,338,491.04 was from and to. But I mean, I think Jeff's got to be right based on the sheer size of that.
Yeah.
No, that one, I'm sorry, that one sounds like that's probably on an incoming transfer.
Yeah,
Incoming amount.
It's
Yeah,
incoming.
that's an ECS funding. That's the educational cost sharing for the state of Connecticut.
So yeah, I mean, in my mind, there's got to be a way to label that and say ECS, so we just know what that is.
Yeah.
Does that come in quarterly? Or do we get two payments? I
Semi-annual
don't
total
remember.
amount is only like 2.2 million. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's got to be the first of two tranches or something, or second. Maybe that's.
I mean, and yeah, don't take me for exact, like, that's my best guess on that one. There could be also grant funding coming from the bridge. There could be a lot of different things as to how the treasurer and the finance department are bringing dollars in. But that doesn't mean that the Board of Finance and the Board of Selectmen and any other organization in the community shouldn't get a little bit of detail and support as to what those are. And so this is really good because you guys are asking really good questions. And now Jim and myself have to get back to the finance department and say, this is what we need to see so that we all can do our job better and more efficiently.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Yeah, agree. Thank you.
All right. If is everybody good on the check register for now?
Yeah.
Because then we can move on to donation requests, which it's still on our agenda, but I feel like I'm not sure where we are on that, especially given the situation with the finance department in town right now.
Probably we just wait till we have our new, person hired or something and see how they want to handle it, because
Yeah.
we were told in the past that there's really no way to handle this. I don't know if we should leave it on there just so we don't forget it, but we kind of got our answer was kind of like, no, not now. Let's not do that.
I think we have to kick the can on this one as well.
Keep down the road.
The issue there is, I think, that we already have all these little accounts. We've been trying to consolidate them for years, and taking in a small donation and creating another account for it, the town isn't really psyched to do that. So, but yeah, let's get a new treasurer in there and then maybe revisit the issue. And anybody disagree?
Nope.
All right, I'm good with that.
Maybe Diane does, but because it was her donation, right? It was
Yeah.
Diane Grenier. Maybe she feels differently about it, but I think we have to kick it down the road.
Well, she definitely wanted the town to be set up to take the money, and I completely understand it. I just don't know the best way to handle it, and until we have a treasurer, I don't know that we can make any progress.
Yep.
Liaison reports. So I guess watch the Board of Ed meeting. We're there via Zoom. I was actually originally there in person.
Did you skip back?
Are we skipping
past the
6?
status of the school?
Did I skip right over 6? I did.
You skipped right over
the agenda.
5D.
We
We
had
skipped
it
over
3D.
5D.
I apologize.
5D also.
5D also, yeah.
Okay. I apologize. So the status. Okay, well, all right. Board of Ed meeting anyway. Status of the bathroom project. The way things we talked about this, the Board of Ed talked about this at their meeting last week. And they had a vote to go ahead and get some additional bids. They're not
Reviews, wasn't it, Rob? More reviews, or
Yeah, I mean, my understanding was they had 3 options that they considered, and one was just proceed with the project as Plus O'Neill, had presented. One was, I think, just almost like a start from scratch RFP process, and the other was go get additional bids from contractors. And that was my understanding of the vote. Liz, you were there too. I think, Kim, were you also on there?
Yes,
If
I
you
was.
think you want to chime in and tell me I'm wrong, go ahead. But that's what I recall them discussing.
That's kind of the way I remember it, that option 3 is what they landed on. And the specifics to that, I didn't quite understand, to tell you the truth. I
Right.
don't know what going to get additional, options or bids or whatever. I don't know what the process is going to look like for that.
I'm not sure either. I talked to Val yesterday, and she made it sound like more like it was a gut check by getting additional reviewing by contractors. Not so much. It's not like an RFP process. An RFP process. It was more like kind of checking with other contractors, see, does this look in line, type of thing. Is what it seemed like to me. Does that sound right or no? It was kind of like an overview or review of the quotes and the work.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes,
I don't really understand it. I mean, I think
I don't
seems
either,
like
because
it's
otherwise it'd be an
turned into
RFP process. If you're putting it out for multiple bids, it's kind of like an RFP process almost, really.
Right.
it seems like it's turned into a much bigger project than what was initially expected. And I think for the better, you know, for what's best for the town and the taxpayer for people to feel good about it, I think the RFP process makes the most sense. And from the beginning, she had indicated that Fuss and O'Neill would handle the RFP process. We got a document to that effect.
Correct.
So I don't know why it hasn't gone through that process.
Yeah. I think that's the way they're leaning. And from what I understand is looking at these contracts, obviously none of us, Board of Ed, Board of Finance, we're not people that are really qualified to review these type of documents and bids. So someone like having Fuss and O'Neill in her mind is someone that can review these bids and these documents with knowledge, if you will, that we don't necessarily have.
They could have, right. And I think initially, that was the plan, was that Fuss and O'Neill would oversee the RFP process, but it sounds like they didn't even go that route at all. It just seems like Fuss and O'Neill chose somebody, or
I think they sort of picked the subcontractors that they thought were best. But the latest communication I had from Val on this, because I asked about it too, was that the most recent thing was she talked to Eric Becker, who was the project manager for our senior center project. And this is
Eric Sanderson. Eric Sanderson.
Oh, Eric Sanderson. I don't know why I said.
Eric Becker was the last Board of Ed member that stepped down.
Yeah. Oh, I think she just got her names swapped. So
that's possible. Yeah.
Sanderson.
Yep.
So but again, and this is sort of along the lines of what Bill was talking about in terms of a gut check and, is the Fuss and O'Neill proposal reasonable, which is not a bid. So we're going to have to, that's sort of TBD. We're going to have to hear more from the Board of Ed on that. And we'll go from there, but that's the latest and greatest, based on their meeting. They had a lot to get through. They had to fill a vacancy. They had a lot going on. So, but that was the update that I got and the most recent information that I have to share.
Hey, Bill, you were on the committee, correct?
Yep.
Do you guys even have stamped drawings from Fuss and O'Neill as to what the project's going to entail?
I have
stamped drawings?
I wouldn't call them complete. I'm not sure about that, but I have drawings and I have the specifications.
Okay, so has the committee that was established to oversee this reviewed final drawings on the project?
No.
Okay, I think that's where you got to start. It kind of only makes sense that you have a final plan. And yes, my understanding is that Fuss and O'Neill chose specific contractors that they thought had skills within the areas that we were looking for. They didn't go out and quote with multiple contractors, didn't quote out with any local contractors for any pieces of that project that could be done. So I think there's a lot of work to do on that. And I think it starts with the committee that was formed to sit there and oversee this. And if you guys don't get final drawings and stamped drawings from the engineering firm that we've paid a significant amount of money to, then I don't think any other board can really do anything. I don't think the Board of Finance can really do anything. I don't think the Board of Selectmen can do anything, because I haven't seen final drawings.
Would have been my expectation, and it's still my expectation and hope, is that they would come with Fuss and O'Neill and give a presentation to our board and to the Board of Selectmen to show us exactly what the drawings are. This is what we thought the project was, because from what I've heard, bits and pieces, it sounds like the project has gotten bigger than what it initially started out to be. Just to lay it all out and show us all what it all entails, down to whatever, everything, and what the financial impact would be. So, that's what I keep hoping, is that we would hear that they wanted to set up time on one of our calendars to do that presentation.
There's going to be a meeting, according to Val, on the first week of January. They're not sure which day, but the week of January 5th will be kind of the next meeting that they're going to have.
Meeting with the subcommittee?
I don't know. She asked me to be there. Absolutely. I'm assuming Jeff Murray was asked to be there as well.
Will that be an open public meeting?
I don't know. She sent me a text saying that this was going to be the next meeting that we get together. They haven't picked the exact date, just that it would be the first week of January, and she would get back to me with more details.
Because I had heard the Board of Ed indicate that those meetings would be advertised and that they would be posted on the website. So I'm kind of looking for that. I was kind of looking to, like when the Board of Selectmen has a special meeting, they
Was that
advertise it.
was that done? And I apologize. And I just went to Caitlin. I wasn't able to attend the Board of Education meeting, but was that discussed at the Board of Education meeting, Bill, or when was that decided? Did you just get a text?
I just got the text today on that.
Just got it today?
Yes.
Okay. All
I
right.
think I do remember hearing that
It
discussed.
was mentioned at the last Board of Ed meeting that they were,
Yeah.
yes. And then they were going to make their final decision, it looks like, on the week of the 14th at their regular meeting.
Make their final decision about what?
Let's see, have a board to vote on, I think, the process that they're going to use, whether it be RFP,
Okay.
Fossil O'Neill, or this, I don't know, that's a third option.
Okay.
I'm just,
Well, if you have any influence on that, can you suggest that it's a public meeting?
I think it would be a good idea, again, just to make it, to your point, Liz, a presentation to,
Right, well-
to our two boards, just to bring us up to date where they are. And absolutely. Yes, I will.
It's a
I will.
question of, of when they're prepared to come do that. But I agree. I'd like them to come and have Fossil O'Neill there and help walk us through it.
Bill,
I will definitely talk to Val about that. Make sure.
thank you.
I was sorry, I was just maybe drafting an email to this effect. Just to make sure that to explain what we discussed tonight and what our expectations and hopes are. Because I do think just hearing our discussion tonight, there's still a little confusion. So I think we need to get some things clarified. But at this time, I don't have anything further. So
Either.
unless there's more discussion on that, we can go to our new business. And Liz, you had a couple items you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, so the first one was the update to the corrective action plan. And because I was confused about that when I heard at the Board of Education that they were waiting for something from the town. So I was hoping that Jeff could fill us in on that.
Yep.
Are you talking about the overdue payments, Liz?
No, this
No,
is about the audit. This is about
the
the
audit.
corrective action plan for the audit. And
Oh.
it was something
Yeah,
that
the
my
corrective
understanding
action-
is that Board of Ed and Board of Selectmen kind of had to, or the superintendent and the first selectman had to cooperate on.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
this was for the audit for, I was going to, just going to say for the year ended 2025. So 2024 or 2025.
Right.
Okay, so let's go through the history of this so you understand what's occurred. So, the audit was completed. Eric and Valerie were, there is one audit issue that is out there. And the audit issue, as I initially understood it, was related to bank statements. But when I started to have discussions with the auditor and read the correspondence between Valerie, and it's a little bit more about information, but the issue, the CAPA should have been a collaborative effort between Eric and Valerie. And the decisions about what information is needed should have been collaborative. That didn't occur. The issue is that the treasurer is attempting to reconcile the monthly information that she receives from the Board of Education into the financial statements for the town. So the information that we receive. So I'll try to explain it to you so we can all understand it. The town sits there and submits a disbursement to the Board of Education in the range of about $480,000. There's 10 payments a year, and it's the entire budget that the Board of Finance agrees upon with the Board of Education. That money is submitted to the school and the school finance department. The treasurer is attempting to take transactions that are processed by the Board of Education and determine these amounts. So like if you look at our budget to actual, you have a budgeted amount and then you have actual expenditures. The school does not spend all $480,000 every month. It fluctuates. So there's expenses that the school incurs, and then the rest of the money ends up into bank accounts. And the school, as I understand it, has 4 bank accounts. They have an operating account, they have a grant account, they have a student activity fund, and they have a cafeteria account. So the treasurer was attempting to create an understanding of what those cash balances were and what actual expenditures went out from the Board of Education. So that's the basic understanding of what the treasurer was attempting to do. And the treasurer was not capable of doing it with the information that she was receiving. So the auditor sat there and said, you can't do this in the way that you're doing it because it screws up your books. So Eric wrote a CAPA, and that CAPA was submitted to the auditor. The auditor agreed with that CAPA, and Valerie did not agree with that CAPA. So the superintendent sat there and went back to the auditor and said, I don't agree with the resolution to that. So then I had to get involved because Eric was leaving, and the auditor called me. And honestly, I have to sit there and draft the CAPA now and get Valerie, work with Valerie to get it done. I have some ideas. I think it can be done fairly easily. And to be really honest, I haven't sat there and done that because there's been a few issues going on. I know I need to do it. I know I need to work with Valerie to get it done. I think we can do it so that the future treasurer can get numbers that actually make sense, because even if you look at your numbers now, I'm not sure what the treasurer has actually done in the first 4 months of the year, 5 months of the year, depending upon how many you get. But, I think we can do it. I think we can do it pretty easily. I just think that we have to consistently get information. And it's not the Board of Selectmen that needs to get this information. It is the Board of Finance and the Treasurer's office that needs to get this information, because you guys need to be able to do oversight. You need to see kind of similar things to what you were reviewing for the town today. And the treasurer's office needs that information so that they can provide you and account for the town appropriate financial statements on every month. So the CAPA issue is on me. It was put on me because Valerie and Eric didn't work together properly. And I will get it done. My hope is to have it done by the end of the month and have Valerie approve it. It's a check the box issue, really. There are some issues that I've been told that there's, everybody sits there and says a lot of different things about what's right, what's wrong. And, we're going to hold up grants and not hold up grants. I spoke to the auditor 2 weeks ago, and I will sit there and get a summary of what I think we can all work with and what the school should be able to work with the treasurer's office moving forward. Any questions?
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate the update. I mean, it's just,
Thank you, Jeff.
hopefully you'll find the time soon. I know a lot's going on.
Can I just mention for the minutes that if the audit is for 23-24, it's not 24-25. This is like
2 years ago.
2 years ago audit. Yeah.
Oh.
So
Oh,
Right.
It's still not complete. So the auditors are ready to do they're currently working on the current audit. This is left over and
Oh.
unresolved from the audit before. So just wanted to make sure your minutes reflect the correct year.
oh, thank you. I thought we were talking about this most recent one because I
Yeah,
know they're working on it.
honestly, so did I.
Yeah, no, it's the one from the year before.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay. Thank
Well,
you.
you also have to sit there and understand when the auditor finishes his work. So we won't sit there and see the audit. You didn't sit there and see that audit until probably the middle of the year. So let's sit there and say we're talking the end of 2024, right? You saw that at the beginning, the audit completed in the beginning of 2025. Anybody? I mean, I'm talking to the finance director at the school. When does that audit? When is the audit dated? I'm driving, so I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I don't have the exact date, but I can tell you the auditors for this year have been in and they're closing up the audit. So January, February, the books close the end of June and the auditors come in and we want to get the audit, by January, February, so we can close out the book. So, so this audit, my guess is it was done, like you said, probably eight months ago. They were trying to, resolve this. I know there was some back and forth on the corrective language. I believe Val drafted, again, I know she and Eric went back and forth. I believe Val drafted language and showed that language to the auditor, and the auditor was okay with that language. But I agree, Jeff. I think the sooner you guys can sit down together and get this worked out, or maybe sit down with the auditor together, the three of you, that would be great.
Correct. But let us all understand, this is not holding up the audit. This is a corrective action plan as to items that the auditor felt that the town was not doing appropriately. It's a secondary report that's submitted to one of the departments within the state.
Sorry, yes, you are correct. I just know that
Not holding
that
up the audit.
No, but the state is asking for the state is asking Val for information about that corrective action plan. So that is what's happening. The state is saying, where is this information? Where's the final language from this? So again, it'd be great. I think everybody around the table probably wants it finalized, right? And then but I just wanted to get the year clarified on the minutes for you.
So the current audit that was hasn't been submitted. Jim, do you know the most recent audit for the year ending 2025? Was that submitted? Because here we're talking about the corrective action plan from the previous year. I get that.
Right.
My bad on that one. But right now, I believe that
The last I checked, the auditors were here. It was roughly the treasurer's last or second to last day. And they went over to the Board of Ed, which was probably the 8th of December. I can't believe they're wrapped up and done. Maybe they are, but
I think they said they're just coming back one more day to us. Yeah, one more day.
Okay, good.
they were just going to be.
We should start to see things in spring. Right, in terms of them coming to us with
Right, the final outcome. Gotcha.
Joanne put in chat, her recollection is April 2025 was when we had seen the last one. So that sounds right to me.
Yep. So that kind of segues into 6B, in the expectations of what to expect, what we should expect to see. And I'm hoping that we can kind of agree that we don't really have good insight as to what's going on the Board of Ed's, where the money's going, what they're buying, whatever. And that's our responsibility. So I would like to see that we get monthly reports in our packet to include the budget to actual report. I mean, I know they have that out there on their website, but I don't think we should have to go and chase it down. I think it should come, I would imagine it comes to the treasurer, and that should be part of our packet. And I would also like to see the bank reconciliations for all those accounts. The operational account to include the check register, the grant account, the student activity account, and the cafeteria account. I know that I've attended I attend mostly all the meetings, and I know that the Board of Ed doesn't look at those. They don't review those in their meetings, so I feel like there should be some oversight so that we can feel good about the budget that we are putting forth next year.
If I may I speak?
Well, she's here as a resource. I'd be fine with getting some more information if you're done, Liz. If you've said what, okay, go ahead.
Well, I do have more to add, but go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Liz. Please go ahead. Please go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, so one of the reasons that I'm just not sure that I'm comfortable with the knowledge of the finances is evidenced by the transfers that happened in June. And there's one in particular that kind of concerns me. And I'm just curious that there was $112,000 that was transferred to the repair and maintenance for the HVAC account. And that line, I think, was budgeted, I think, $15,000. And I think this year it's budgeted for $17,000. And I would like to see the receipts for what was purchased for that line item. I think it's kind of, I don't know, was it a one-off thing? Was it a new HVAC that they bought? I feel like we have a right and a responsibility to understand where that money's going. So
what I can do, again, I just started in November, so I can look into that transfer. To my knowledge, there was no big HVAC repairs to that extent of $112,000. So let me investigate that for you. I can come back to you with that.
I would actually like to see, right? I'd actually like to see the purchase orders and receipts that add up to the 15,000 plus the 112,000 for that grouping.
Well, let me look into that for you. I'll get that information. I could share it with you, Robert. I'll talk to Val and I can get that shared with you. I want to make sure I'm getting you the right information.
Okay, well, I don't really want a summary. I would like a detailed expenditure summary.
Can I just, one thing, is this, you said it was a fund transfer. Does that mean the money was spent? All that money was spent?
Money was spent, yeah. So $15,000 is budgeted for the R&M HVAC line. And there were transfers totaling $112,400 some odd dollars for that line. So 112 plus 15, so 117.5. I'm curious what was spent, what was done with that.
Yeah, let me check. I'll check on that for you. I'll verify. I need to verify the transfer and take a look at what that transfer is, and then I can get you that information. As for reports, just so you know, and again, I can send them to Robert. And actually, I apologize. I meant to get you one of the reports that Terry has been sending you. She calls it the Board of Finance report, and I have to get Robert's email address to send that. And just so people do know, and again, I'm happy to share it with Robert to forward it, but the summary expenditure report, it's like a 2-3 page report. It has a percentage spent to date. That's in the Board of Ed packet, and a detailed expenditure report. So again, after our board meetings, which are the week before yours, I can send that along with the BOF report that I believe Terry has been sending you the BOF report, and I apologize for not having it for you guys tonight.
I just suggest you CC Liz because she's, vice chair, and what if I can't make a meeting for some reason? I'd like her to have it too. Is that provided typically
Thank you.
to the town finance department as well? Because that's I think it would make sense.
Yeah, and what goes
Right.
to the and additional reports go to the treasurer. So
Okay.
so we have those three that go to the Board of Ed, and then there's more stuff that the list from Terry, the bank statement goes to the treasurer as well. We have 4 different reports that go to the treasurer every
Okay.
month.
I put in chat
Can-
my town email address,
Oh,
so
wonderful.
you can just get it out of there.
Thank you. And Liz, do you
Can
want to
you
throw
tell
yours
us-
in
Oh, sure. Yeah.
there? Okay.
I don't know.
It's
I have
probably
to look at
L
it.
Locheck at Andover, CTL road, but
Right. So it'd be
Yeah.
L Lokic, LOKIEC at
Okay.
whatever Roberts is.
Okay.
here, you know what? I have it here. I'm just going to copy and paste it. That
Okay.
way, there's not going to be a spelling error because
Thank you.
that's the last
Can
thing
you-
we need.
Can you tell me what reports you do send to the treasurer?
Yeah, so it's the general fund expenditure report, which I assume is the same one. I'll have to double check with Terry, but it's it's the detailed expenditure report, which has line by line, how much is expended, how much is encumbered. There's a custom report actually, and it tells you our actuals to date. Actually, I just have this one. It tells the appropriation, what's expended, what's encumbered, what the balance, the percent used, and our
that's
bank balance at that moment. So we have that, and then check registers from the bank statements.
Check registers from the operations account?
Yeah, from the general fund. So that was a question I had too. Who usually that gets sent after the board meeting? Who should I be sending that to while you're waiting for a treasurer?
If you can just send it to the board, to the board. Or you could send it to me and Robin. We can share it with the rest of the board, or you can.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great.
Um,
Okay, yeah, I'll get that to you tomorrow or Friday.
And I mean, for going forward, if we're going to have stuff in our packet, Kate, our packet gets put together on the town side. Kate puts it together, so we're going to you need to get it to her as well.
Okay.
I don't know whether I want this to be as smooth and not terribly clunky where you have one person getting an email and then I forgot to forward it and now it's not in the pack. It's better if we tee it up.
If it all goes to the treasurer, that would be great, and Kate can do it
How do
all.
I do that? I'll just send it all to Kate and ask her to forward it to you all and put in your packet.
So I'm kind of sitting here feeling that time is getting away from us, and we're going to be in the thick of it in budget mode very soon. I would like to make a motion. I'd like to know how the rest of the board feels, and I'd like to make a motion to add these reports as a standard report for our monthly meetings. So if we could get the custom expenditure report, and bank reconciliations for the operations account, the grant account, the student activity account, and the cafeteria account.
I'm going to respectfully say that I think that's too much information. I mean, you can request that, but
well, respectfully, we're responsible. We're the Board of Finance. We're responsible to know these things. I'll make the motion, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Can I ask a question? I just have a question.
Sure.
I haven't done this before, but the finance group approves the Board of Education total budget when we do the budget, right?
That's correct.
I don't know how we break it out, but are we allowed to say how they spend this money once
No.
we approve the budget?
No, we do not have line item authority on the Board of Ed's budget. That's the Board of Ed's job.
Right. So I understand the information would be nice to see, but if they didn't spend
Right.
it how we thought,
It's
doesn't
ultimately their
validate-
call. And so I'm a little dubious about how much they're going to be willing to get, how granular they're going to want to get with us. But obviously in the past we haven't gotten it, and there has been resistance to. Uh, I think the concern is exactly this issue. Since we don't have line item authority on their budget, all right, our job is to say, they come to us at each budget cycle and say, guys, we need $5 million. And we say, nope, you can have 4.8. That's, kind of it. And then they have to figure out how to spend that. So, in the past, we haven't gotten that kind of really detailed info. I'm always happy to see info, but, we may not get it, depending on the Board of Ed still has their bailiwick.
Yeah, that's
So, but to Liz's point,
Yeah, I understand why Liz would want to see all this. I just didn't know if what we had authority over.
right, we don't have authority over that, but to Liz's point, when we're trying to say yay or nay to whatever the amount of money is that they're asking
the
for,
top line.
it's
Yep.
nice to have the details so that we can say with
Right.
make an informed decision that yes, we support the budget that you're asking for, or no, we don't. So I do understand where Liz is coming from, that even though we don't have authority over it, it's nice
Right.
to see it so we can make an informed decision when we make a vote on that top line amount.
So
Yep,
I'd like
I
to,
understand
I'd like
that.
to second that motion because
Hold on.
I
Liz,
exactly
did you
feel
get
that.
is your motion complete? Did you get all the reports you wanted in there?
Yeah, we gotta,
Yeah, so the
Are those all their separate accounts?
those are the ones that I've heard of.
Okay.
And I just feel like, as a Board of Finance member sitting here, when somebody asks questions, I want to feel confident about the decision that we're making with the taxpayers' money. That's all. And I know that the Board of Ed doesn't do a deep dive into Valerie's budget. Or, she gives her presentation the way she does it, and they operate the way they operate. So ultimately, the oversight is ours. So I don't know what the pushback would be, but it's just my feeling. I'm open to more discussion.
Sorry, I'm just going to request that for now, I think having the expenditure reports, the detail summary, the BOF report. I'm going to be honest, in my town, I'm on the Board of Selectmen. I've been on the Board of Finance, and that is even more information than in my experience a Board of Finance asks for. And I'm very happy to provide that. I think that gives you, you want to make sure there's oversight. I totally understand that. I think you run the risk of being very micromanaging. And I think at this point, I would just formally request or humbly request that we start with these 3 reports. And I'm happy to come to meetings to answer questions about this report. But I just think if too much is just going to be an overload of information. I have to look at even check registers. I have to make sure no kids' names or things are on there for services. So I just reconciliations, we do them, and I understand you want to make sure they are happening, but they are complicated. So please don't expect a reconciliation in time necessarily for your meeting. That's really that to me is a Board of Finance, and I'm trying to be respectful, but for me that is really micromanaging for a Board of Finance, in my humble opinion. And I respect you. I respect that you want information.
What were the
Okay.
3 reports you said that we could get?
Yeah, so it's a summary expenditure report, which kind of lists the main control accounts and the percentage expended, right? So you could say, 29% of that account's been expended, so, 40%. And that way, if, we could ask questions based off that report, which I think you get. Then we also have the more detailed expenditure report where you could see, again, a line item, and if that line item has been, how much is encumbered, if it's been if if it's overexpended, you know, then like where we would have to do a transfer, you'd be able to see that. And the other report, again, has that information as well as the M&T bank account balance for that time. And as well, what was the third? Sorry, I was just going to percent used, the appropriation, and it also has our grant income on that report as well. So that's a lot of information.
Well,
So-
I think
personally
it would be,
like to see more, which.
Can I say something as an account here? And I'm just asking your board to think about it this way. You guys are coming into a new budget cycle, right? You're going to be asked to sit there and evaluate the Board of Education. Just like you evaluate the town, but think about how you're evaluating the Board of Education. If you don't get information that helps you make a decision on a given line item, then how are you doing it? And I just ask you all to think about that because I've been thinking about this. That's why I got involved and engaged, and I come as an ex officio member and try to go to all these meetings because, like, how do you do it? If you didn't know, like, just think about this transfer. Think about the transfer. I'll go through the transfer from my standpoint, and the finance director can tell me that I'm wrong. You had to transfer it from somewhere. So the $112,000 had to come out of a line item to go into a repair and maintenance account for HVAC. Where did it come from? Did it come from salaries? Did it come from some other line item that's over budgeted for? And then you guys are trying to make another budget 6 months in advance, and you're not seeing a lot of information. So I'm just telling you in my head, what has to happen is the town's reports that you guys oversee and the Board of Education reports that you oversee have to be as close as possible. And I realize the Board of Education has certain issues that they have to address, confidentiality, a little bit different, but not really. I mean, if you're going to sit there and see a check register, you can see a check register. If there's somebody that needs to be blacked out, well, then it blacked out to the public, but the Board of Finance should still see it. I don't see any reason not to, but I am telling you in my head, how are you doing your next year's budget? Like, you already did your budget and there was $112,000 transfer from one account to another account. That's a lot of money. Where'd it come from? Did it come
Again,
from?
I'm asking for the opportunity. I'm asking for the opportunity. Look, I'm committed as the new finance director to coming to all of your meetings to answer questions. I've already said I will investigate that 112,000 and get that information. But again, this is another reason why I think it's important. I'd rather come in front of you and speak to things as opposed to just looking through 50 pages of financial information, but that you might, you know, it might not make a lot of sense. So again, I'm just want to say I'm committed to come to your meetings and answer questions, and I will look into that that $112,000 transfer from June. So sorry, I don't mean to usurp your meeting. I'll be quiet. Thank you.
well, and we have a
Had her
second
hand up.
on, we have a second on that? Or aren't we supposed to
Right, we're
vote on
gonna,
it?
there's
Vote
a
on it?
motion on the floor. We have a second.
Oh, yeah, I second that. Can we vote on
So
that?
there you go. So now if there's any further discussion on this, again, I'm a little bit, I see the concern here on the school side, but I think we can request what we want to request and we'll go from there. So,
Kim had her
we'll-
hand up. Kim had
Kim,
her
go
hand
ahead. I'm sorry. I
It's okay.
didn't see.
It's okay, Rob. Just go ahead.
No, you're good. All right. So what I would say is at this point, unless there's further discussion, we should have a vote. So all in favor of Liz's motion?
Do you want to do a roll call? So for the,
Sure. Okay. Heather.
Wait, I'm sorry, I have one
Yep.
more question.
Sure.
So we're saying we can get the 3 reports, but Liz is asking for more for detail of every single account, or
There were 5 accounts, I believe she wanted to see.
which is 2 more than we were going to get anyways.
some of the reports we get don't really provide much information. I mean, it's a monthly reconciliation for these four bank accounts: the operational account, the grant account, the student activity account, and the cafeteria account. Yeah.
So I guess I think what Heather's trying to get at, just for her edification, is what is the gap between
Yeah.
what Jody was talking about giving us
Right. And what we,
and
what
your
we're asking
motion?
for. Right.
Right.
Well, the gap is, if we saw more, maybe we would know throughout the year when something came up. So, like this $112,000 transfer, maybe we would see that stuff. Like for instance, we saw in our own account that we were over on one line, right?
Right. That's a budget,
So-
like the budget taxable. But what I'm asking is, so I understand your justification for wanting the information. What I'm asking is, though, what is the informational difference between what Jody was proposing to give
Right.
us
Would we see
and your motion, just so Heather's clear on it?
right? Would we see the
Okay.
transfer? Would we see the $112,000 transfer on what Jody was going to give us anyways?
Would we see an overage? We might see an overage depending on when in the year they incurred that expense. If, with the budget to actual, but there's other bank accounts that we never get to see. There's other bank accounts with funds in them that we never are privy to see. So with our oversight, we should be privy to see them if we choose. So like the grant account, the student activity account, the cafeteria account, that wouldn't show up in the other reports. If that explains it.
So it's really the bank statements that we're
Yeah,
getting.
bank
that you're
statements
looking-
for those other bank accounts.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
Okay. Is everybody clear? As clear as we can get anyway on the difference between what Liz wants and what Jody was thinking was appropriate. Then we're gonna go ahead. I'll go around I'll go around Robin. I'm gonna actually start to my right. I'm gonna go with Louise. Yay, nay,
Yay.
abstain. You're a yay?
Yay.
Liz.
Yay.
Okay. Bill, Nick, sorry, you're next.
I'm gonna abstain. I don't think I have enough info on the existing accounts versus what we're asking for.
Okay. Bill.
Boy. I'm a little torn because with Jody saying that she'll be at our meetings from now on and being able to provide the information that we're looking for, answer the questions, I think that should be sufficient with the reports that she's offering right now. So I'm going to say nay.
Okay. Kim.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. And I'm going to vote no on this, but I'm with a caveat, which is I'm good with the idea of revisiting this. If for some reason it doesn't pass, I would like to see what Jody gets us and then go from there. That's my gut take on this. And so, all right. And then I'm sorry, Heather, I've kind of looped around and I don't want to forget you.
That's okay. I'm kind of feeling like Nick, like I don't know. I think I'd like to go nay also, but because maybe at the next meeting we could see those reports and then Jody can answer the questions so I can see more of what we're missing and what we need to know about. So.
Okay. So that leaves us at 331, which is motion does not pass. But I want to make clear though, that the other reports we do want, Jody.
Yeah, got it.
And that this issue, I want to leave it on the agenda, right? Like, let's see what we get, and we should continue the discussion because I don't want to shut this down. I think Liz is, looking for information in a valid way. It's just, what is the nature and extent that we want to do going forward? Let's, I haven't personally dug through some of the information that we're talking right now on the Board of Ed side, right? So that's something I think we all need to look at, evaluate, and go, wait a minute. Okay, maybe I agree with Liz that this gives us a piece of information, but there's not enough here for us to really understand it. So we need more. Or this is good. So that's my take. I think we should leave it on the agenda. We should have it come up as we get that information,
Right.
hopefully monthly. Maybe if there's a lag of, if we were talking about reconciliations, Jody, if there's a lag, and so we have a meeting in February and we're seeing the January stuff, that that I think is understandable. But we should start to get that in our pipeline, if you will, informationally, and then we can decide. We can revisit the issue. I don't want to shut it down.
Sounds good to me. Thank you.
Okay. So speaking of school finances, that brings up the other item that I added to the agenda, 6C. So there's an email. So as you may recall, most of the members of the board probably know this already, but I'll refresh your memories. There are a couple of Fuss and O'Neill invoices outstanding for their design work for the bathroom project that have not been paid by the town. And they're getting kind of increasingly in arrears. I think one's from September. And the other, I think, is a November bill.
Mhm.
And, Valerie had sent an email to Jeff and, with Caitlin and me on copy saying, can we get this paid? Oh, and Jim as well. Jim chimed in to explain that, we're down a treasurer. We don't have an assistant treasurer this week due to a death in the family. And it wasn't clear to me whether that meant we literally cannot write a check this week or, until we get our assistant treasurer back off leave, or what the status of that is. So that's sort of issue number one. Are we literally unable to write checks this week as a town? And then two, this has been an outstanding issue for a while. I know that where there had been questions about some of the characterization of the work in at least one of the bills. But I don't think, personally, I don't think we can just sit on these bills indefinitely. At some point, I think they need to be paid. And if there's a specific issue with them, if there's additional information on some line item that could be asked for, then okay, then somebody needs to email Fuss and O'Neill with that specific question. But we need to get, I think, this stuff paid now. Just because at some point we're in violation of contract, right?
Okay.
Now, a year ago in our December 2024 meeting, we approved up to $48,000 for the design work through Fuss and O'Neill for this project. My understanding is we're within that figure. These are not overages at this point. I think we spent like 47. I think we're right about there, but I don't think we're over. So Valerie asked if we could get them paid, and then offered a workaround if, to the extent that the town cannot pay it this week, she feels like it really needs to get paid ASAP. She was asking should the school pay it and then seek reimbursement via transfer from their capital account once we have a treasurer again, as soon as possible. So that was the proposal that she put on the table via email today. I bring it up to the board for discussion, consideration, etc. I'm not quite sure the best way to handle this, but one of the questions I definitely have is, are we this week just unable to write checks? Like, is that true? Or is that not so? Jeff, do you have
listen, yeah, I do, because the reason they haven't been paid is definitely on me. I have sat there and requested that the checks be held because for two reasons, and I'll tell the board why. Because the bills from Fuss and O'Neill are now in a construction phase, and I heard somebody before, and I think it was Bill, say construction phases mean a lot of different things. I asked a simple question earlier in this meeting: have we seen final stamp drawings? So what I would like to do with Fuss and O'Neill is have a meeting open to the public so we can all understand what they've done and where they've been, what they've done related to this contract. Have they sat there and bid it out? Did they not bid it out? I would like to be more open as to what is going on. So honestly, there has been multiple checks cut on this, Robert, like multiple checks. And I asked Eric not to sign the first one. I asked Jim not to sign the second one, because I don't think we as a community, and now listen, Board of the town administrator has the authority to sit there and sign those. I, as a Board of Selectmen member, manage the town administrator. So what I've asked is not to pay those until I can get an understanding of what we actually received and we have paid for. I understand we have a contract with them. I understand, but that contract changed. That contract, as far as I was concerned, was to go out and do an RFP on a project so that we could get multiple bids. That project changed. And no one can tell me if they have a stamped drawing for the project. So that is why I have asked for those checks to be held up. Now, I have not seen Valerie's email because I'm traveling and I'm in a car, but that's why Fuss and O'Neill has been held up with the last 3 or 4 invoices that they've put through the treasurer's office and the finance office, because I don't know what we've actually received. If you guys can find out what we've received, and I would love to have a meeting with Fuss and O'Neill, I would love, and we've asked for that before, and we were told no. But I would love to have a meeting with Fuss and O'Neill to get an understanding of what they've done related to their contract and where they're at, because Robert, they're at the end of their contract, and if I don't have stamped drawings, what good is it?
Can I add something to that?
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I add
please.
something. Yeah. I wholeheartedly believe the same thing. I'm actually working on a project at my daughter's house too, and I won't pay a cent until I see what's going on and if they've done exactly what the actual contract has said. So I feel there's an obligation for us to know what has actually been done before we actually sign the checks. And I would assume there was a project manager involved. I mean, is someone overseeing this whole operation? Does anyone have any answers to that?
The Board of Ed.
Board of Ed. Okay. Do
Now,
they have
there is a project manager at Fuss and O'Neill.
They're Fuss and
Of course.
O'Neill. I was going to say they're the.
I think that Louise is asking from the town, though. Aren't you asking
No.
from the town, Louise?
No,
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 it's not.
no,
Oh.
project manager for them, because
Yeah, Fuss
they're
and
the
O'Neill,
ones.
there's going to be a lead person. Yeah.
Yeah, because they're the ones who should be kind of telling us what actually has been done and whether it's been done sufficiently so we can pay them.
And again, I'm not sure 100% of this, but I believe the Board of Ed feels that Fuss and O'Neill has provided that information or those documents to the Board of Ed. So I think the Board of Ed feels like they've received that information and the work from Fuss and O'Neill, and that the Board of Ed feels that they should be paid for the deliverables. I think that's how the Board of Ed is viewing this.
Okay, and you're on the committee, right? The committee advising the Board of Education as to this project. Have you received stamped documents related to the project?
I've seen early documents. I don't believe we've seen the stamped documents yet.
Okay, so we're about 95% of the total, I believe. And I don't know these numbers, but I do know that we're getting toward the end of this. There's a lot of money that has, because if I understood the original contract, it was supposed to go through construction.
No, my
All the way through
understanding,
the construction.
the bills that we've received were for construction design. So
Documents,
just,
not
there's
construction.
nothing, not construction. I mean, the construction, the quote for the project is roughly $400,000. So we're nowhere near and it's my understanding, again, I haven't seen them. So Bill, you've probably seen more than I have, or Jeff, I don't know if you've asked Valerie for the plans that we do have, but according to Valerie, there are plans. And at the last Board of Ed meeting, they talked about giving those plans to different contractors to get some informal bids. So there's definitely enough there for them to send out it's enough of a scope of work to send out to contractors to get quotes. So, but I will be honest, I have not seen that. I don't know what Bill has seen. But if they're, and I don't know, Jeff, did you request something from Val and like when the bills came in, or Jim?
I have been requesting information related to the project, and it has not been clearly explained as to where we're at, because what you said is you said what I believed was supposed to happen, which was we were supposed to receive plans that would go to a bid and an RFQ. The information that Valerie presented at one of the meetings was, here were the contractors, and honestly, I threw my hands up and said, well, where's the bids? What
Well,
were the bids?
I'm going to challenge you on that a little bit. I'm going to get a little pushback because it
Go
was
ahead.
design build from the start. And I went
No,
back
it
and looked at
was not. It
That's-
was not.
it was
That's where the
not a
rub is.
design build.
That's where the rub is right there, because when I talked to Val, the way it was explained to me is from the very beginning, she thought this was a design build project. The Board of Ed believes this is a design build project.
Which
So,
is not a design.
I don't know who's
build
right and who's
build.
wrong, Jeff. I'm not saying, I'm just
No,
saying,
I-
according to Val,
I
and the
get
way
it.
this was contracted is a design build.
I get that, but I have a Board of Selectmen member who's also on the committee, and that's not how it's understood. And now we have a Board of Education, if I'm understanding this correctly, and I have the finance director tell me if I'm wrong, that they sat there and said they want to go out for more bids.
They did not say
At
they
the
want to go
last
for
meeting.
formal bids. What they said was they wanted to get some comparables. So they did want to go out to not an RFP process.
Right.
Okay. But the original process was a design build. Again, it's a new process in the state. In Litchfield, we've used it twice with a lot of success, but it's new. And it skips the bid process. Because it puts trust in the contract in the company that they have, right, that in the firm that they work with particular contractors, they have relationships, they know quality, right? So it's about their quality of the work. But anyway, but yes, to my understanding, it was always been design build, but I think we are straying from the issue, and I'm sorry, but Robert, I think the invoices, and if they have given us enough, and again, I'm new and I wasn't part of the contract, and Bill, you probably know best if you're on that committee of, what was promised by which timeline. I never heard of a stamp, we weren't going to pay them until we had stamped drawings.
No, because it's
Bill, you're on
phases
the
of design, and you pay as those
That's the
phases of
project.
design go along.
Right, that's the product.
Yeah, I mean, we got
That's the
we got
product.
billing going back, 3+ months now at least that we haven't paid, and I
Well,
don't think
so-
that's fiscally responsible either.
No.
So can I just say this one thing? We approved $48,600 for this. And as of beginning of September, we had paid $42,850. And if we pay this $10,975, we'll be at a total of $53,825. Just as a side note, it does appear that it has gone over. The 42,850 was in an email that I received from Eric, because I was curious how much we spent so far. So
That doesn't match the balance sheet. The balance sheet that the treasurer sent me showed that $11,000 was spent this year from that account. So that 42,000 is not matching up information from the treasurer. That was just in our that I just received from them last week. So I don't know. Where's that for?
We should
Do you have that
definitely
40? Yeah.
we should definitely
I
get
can-
clarification, a little
Clarification.
extra clarification on that, just because it was my understanding we were within budget. If we're not, then that changes my opinion. So but that said, I think there are multiple invoices, right, outstanding.
That's correct. That is correct. My issue, Robert, honestly, is what have they done and where are we at? Are we at 98% complete? Are we at 40% complete? What is that? Because their bills are close to the total amount of money that is sitting there in that account. Just telling you. So I have been not on the committee. I wasn't asked to be on the committee. Jeff Murray was asked to be on the committee, and he should be on the committee because he is a building person.
Right.
But even Jeff Murray is under the understanding that this was supposed to be an RFP, because I would ask you in your oversight capacity, Does that meet with the Board of Education's purchasing policies? Does that meet with the town's purchasing policies? You know, you're doing a design build project, you know, that should have been communicated beforehand.
Well,
And if you changed, you should have had some discussion within the community that we're changing to this. So you could have gotten feedback right away, whether that was acceptable to the members of the community and the taxpayers or not. Because to me, not bidding that $400,000 project out, it doesn't sit really well with me. It might sit all right. It might sit all right with you guys. It doesn't sit well with me.
yeah, I mean, I've heard you talk about this before. I'm aware of that. My question, I guess, is this. I am not sure I am particularly comfortable with, again, holding these bills because you didn't like the process that the Board of Ed chose to proceed with. At some point we got to pay them. I get that you want more information on
Robert, they'll get paid. They will get paid. I'm
When?
not sitting there saying not pay them. If they sat there and we could sit there and have a sit down with the committee, open to the public, so we could understand where they're at and when this project changed from a bid process to a design build project. They will get paid. I am not sitting here telling you that they're not going to get paid. I am telling you they're being held because the community deserves answers. You might not like that answer, but I honestly believe in my role that the community needs answers on this project. So I have told the treasurer's office not to pay any bills that get submitted until we have clarification on this project, not just for the Board of Education, because what they sit there and say and what they believe the information they're getting from Valerie, but for the entire community, for the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, and every taxpayer that sits there and has a $400,000 project that we paid $48,000 on a design on engineering services. What do we get?
Okay. So to be clear, your ask here before you're going to allow these bills to be paid is that we have a meeting, maybe open to all the boards, with Fuss and O'Neill.
All the boards, more the merrier. Everybody should participate.
All right. Well, I can communicate that over to the Board of Ed. I'm pretty uncomfortable with this whole thing, but I also want to get to yes. I want to find a way through this, and I do also want it done right. So, all right, what I'm hearing is the bill's, going to get paid at some point, maybe, but not now, not under the current situation. You don't feel you have the information, so you're not going to pay the bills.
Listen, if you guys want them paid, I don't control everything. Let me tell you, I am one member of the board, but I am one of the signers on the account. And I sit there and have to deal with all of the boards and all of the people. And I am telling you, if I find a vendor that shouldn't be paid, right? And I need information, my go-to is, can you get me the information so I know what's going on? And then they all get paid. The town does not pay vendors. If you want them paid, and you want them paid now without getting final understanding of what they've done for us to date, you can authorize that and they will get paid.
I mean, I have, speaking of what they have done to date, I mean, I have, because I asked Valerie to email it to me, I have the Fuss and O'Neill documents that they've produced.
And
now I don't see stamps on the renovation construction document, whatchamacallits, the drawings.
The drawings have not been stamped that I seen either. But we have them. We have the documents. We have the plans.
We have a plan. There's absolutely, there's 4 PDF files here.
Right. And work is
so it's not like they, so I guess the question is,
has the board board, has the committee reviewed them thoroughly to determine if there's any changes that need to be made? That's to you, Bill.
Well, listen, again, Jeff, I'm not a contractor. I can't review those plans and specs and say with any authority that this is 100% correct.
Okay.
We're there as
I
an
got it.
oversight committee.
Jeff Murray or anybody, the gentleman who was on the board, Eric Sanderson, have they approved this? Have they sat there and reviewed it? Where the lights are, where the doors are, where the drains are? Have they gone through and sat there and worked with Fuss and O'Neill to say yes? Because listen, I ask Jeff Murray all the time where he's at with this. We asked him in our last meeting where he's at with this.
What did he say?
Because again, Bill, I'm not on that committee and I am not a contractor, but
Right.
he didn't give me a warm and fuzzy that he was anywhere. The board, that committee was anywhere close to a final. Like, I don't know when your last committee meeting was. When was your last committee meeting?
The last real committee meeting that I'm aware of was July.
July. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So, I mean, a couple things. First, Nick's had his hand up for a while. So, Nick, why don't you say what you had to say?
Sorry. Yeah, I just have a couple of questions. We're a pretty projectized organization where we work, and there's a couple of things I naturally go to when we talk about projects. The first is, do we have a written contract with them? Do we have access to it? And does someone else have access to it? The other thing is, in this contract, what were the deliverables and what are the milestone payments? And how is that being managed? Because legally, if there is a contract, regardless of any discussion, the contract is a written form, and that's what we have to answer to. So I was just curious if we have any documentation or anything on this at all, because I don't know when we're talking about like what particularly was provided. I'd be curious to see what was provided versus what we bid and what was proposed. And I think just going to the actual language would help with that.
On
So-
behalf
I
of the
think-
town, I've never seen the contract.
I
And I
assume the
know
Board of
Eric
Ed
never
has it.
saw the contract.
I
I
assume
haven't
that's the
seen
Board
the
of Ed.
contract,
So it's in the hands of the Board of Education.
right.
Right.
That's where it is. There is a contract.
Okay. So are they the ones that ultimately manage the billing? And I just, that would be where my brain goes.
The issue
first
is
thing
this:
I would-
the Board of Ed is the oversight, the oversight board for school projects. They did put together a subcommittee. That's what we've been talking about with Bill and some other folks on it. And the complication is that their capital fund, their capital money, is in a fund that is on the town side. So when they want to pay Fuss and O'Neill, they ask the town to cut the check, and the town, as we've just heard tonight, hasn't been doing it for a couple of invoices because Jeff doesn't feel he's seen enough information to evaluate whether or not those bills are appropriate. So that's where we're at.
That makes sense to me. I'm tracking that. I just would be curious versus the language they had, what they were responsible to provide versus what they actually provided,
Right.
and if that is broken down.
It is my understanding that the Board of Ed thinks that they've been provided what they were supposed to get.
Okay.
But none of us have seen that contract.
Well,
Nick,
okay.
I would love to
and-
see that contract.
I would
I-
like to
I
see that
just-
contract too.
well,
I'd like
that-
to make a
that's number
motion.
one, but the contract, and Joanne's been piping in on the side. She says that the contract did state that Fuss and O'Neill was to do the oversight. They were to be our CMA, if you will, our construction management advisor, and oversee the project and all of this. That's the way it was a design build with their oversight. That's the way the contract was written. According to Val and what she told me, and to what Joanne just posted on the chat here, that's what she says that she remembers as well.
But to Nick's point, nobody has really seen the contract. Can we request that?
We should be able to request.
Why
it.
can't we request that? As taxpayers, we should be able to just ask for it and they should just say, oh, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
There's no HIPAA.
We can ask. We can ask.
All right.
I
You
think
want to call her
it would help.
tomorrow?
We make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we request the contract from Fuss and O'Neill so as to move along the payment.
We should be able to request it.
Is that okay?
We should be able to request it.
So as to move along the payment.
We should be able to request it.
Payment.
I think it would provide some clarity on where we're standing, what was
Exactly. It
proposed.
would answer a lot of these questions.
Sure.
You're-
I will ask Val to email me the documents, the design documents again, because she sent them to my personal email. I'm going to get them on the town email instead. I don't want to be forwarding them from my personal email. She just typed in Robert, and I think it came up my personal instead of my town account. I can ask for that. Hi, Jody, do you have something to add?
Yeah, just for moving forward, I think one question I have, because it's my understanding that when this account was set up, it was set up with a memorandum of understanding between the Board of Finance and the Board of Education. So as a new person coming in, it feels like there's a little bit of lack of clarity of who authorizes the payment, right? So I appreciate Jeff's point of view, and he's trying and protecting. But I think ultimately, and maybe that's something the Board of Finance can look at, is go back to that MOU, I think, when the account was established, and establish protocols for when bills come in, who is approving those bills. So is it Robert and Val? My assumption would be it'd be like the chair of the Board of Finance would be, or maybe you have to authorize, make a motion at some point to authorize Robert to be the authorizer of that account. But again, if that is something you guys can look into, because as in from an outside perspective, that seems to be part of the issue of who's in charge of who's responsible for that authorization
For
and
the capital fund account.
Yeah.
Correct. And let's go to that, because that's a big issue for me, because that memorandum of understanding was never approved at the Board of Selectmen. The Board of Selectmen has control of the capital accounts for the community and has the responsibility for the oversight of all of the physical assets of the town, including the school. So you may think, and listen, honestly, that whole transfer was done incorrectly. So we can sit there and have a debate on that if we would like. We'll take this meeting for another 3 hours, which we don't want to do. But I am telling you, that is a problem. That whole account is a problem. The Board of Finance allowed the school to put they were under budget by 400 and some odd $1,000, and the Board of Finance put that money into a capital fund for the benefit of the school. Didn't take into account anything related to the town and what the town's needs were for any other physical asset within the community. That's the role of CIP and the Board of Selectmen. We come to the Board of Finance and ask the Board of Finance for so much money, and you guys approve it. That's what you're supposed to do. So I have a huge problem with that memorandum of understanding. It never got passed. It is not official. It is not active. So we have a process, and we all need to follow the process.
Jeff, first of all, we always take into consideration all the needs of the town, the school, all the constituencies. That's not accurate, that we did not take into consideration those others.
How did all that money then end up in that fund?
We
How did
approved
you
it because
approve
we
that?
thought it was appropriate, because we knew the bathroom project was coming.
Oh, okay. All right. And that took priority over every other project within this community. And then again, you want to go to the bathroom project, Robert? I'll ask you the same questions that I need to ask the Board of Education. Do we need that bathroom with the student count that we currently have? Because if you want to really get into details, I'll sit there and like to go there, because I have 61 children in a pre-K program that can't use that bathroom. So I have 195 children that need bathrooms. Do we actually need to spend that money on that school? Because that school was built for an excess of 500 students. So I have a lot of issues. I agree. I will support the bathroom project because we should do it. But I have a problem with how we've been doing things. So I'm just telling you, it just doesn't make a lot of the things don't make sense to me. And when you say that you took into account every other project that the town had, I don't really believe that.
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but we
That's
absolutely go through, and again, I'm on the CIP committee. We go through and look at the town's needs all the time. The town has a capital plan. I'm aware of the bridge and culvert work that needs to be done. And I mean, I don't know where this is coming from, that we just didn't consider it. But you know what? Fine. That's your take. I'm not going to waste any more time on it, on getting back and forth on that. That's not how I evaluated things. In any event, We obviously have a huge problem here with the operation of that capital account, a capital fund, I should say. Account's probably the wrong term. Obviously, I thought it was going to work a certain way, but the Board of Selectmen doesn't really agree with me on that. So we're going to have ongoing issues here until we sort this out again. I think we're going to have more meetings. But I don't think we can solve this issue tonight. I am perfectly fine with requesting. By the way, did we actually get to our motion here?
We have a motion on the floor.
Yeah, we have a motion on the floor. So, we have a second on that motion. And just to clarify, the motion is to ask for the contract between the Board of Ed and Fuss and O'Neill.
Yes.
I'll
So that we
second
can
that
write it.
motion.
Okay. All right. Any further discussion on that particular motion? Okay. All in favor?
You want
Say
to go
aye.
down roll call or?
Sure. Sure. We'll do it that way. Fine. Louise,
Yes.
I vote yes. Liz,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Nick,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
and Kim.
Yes.
All right. 7-0. I'll send an email to that effect. I'll copy you, Liz. All right. Or maybe I'll just copy us all.
Rob, can you also, when you get a chance, can you send out the copies of those drawings so that we can all?
That's what I was
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
earlier, is that I have them, but Val, I think she typed in my name and it came up my personal address. She sent them to my personal email. I wanted to resend them to my
Okay.
town account and then disseminate them because that's
Okay.
the way it should be. That's
Fine.
just the way. I'm being a little persnickety
Agree.
about this, but apologies.
No, I get it. I get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
But no, I'm going to ask for both of those things and then I can send them around.
You say both of those things, Rob, does that include a meeting for a meeting of understanding like Jeff's
Okay.
asking for, or
Well,
just? the
I'm debating whether I'm gonna put this all in one email or I'm gonna send two to say that we had an extensive discussion tonight at our meeting, vis-a-vis the status of the bathroom project. And there are, one of the asks on the town side, at least from our first selectman, is a meeting with Fuss and O'Neill, about what they've done and where they're at in terms, and that's his ask for moving forward with bill payment. And I think that's probably a separate email. I think I'll probably split them because one is a straightforward information request. Can you send us these 2 documents? Or 5 actually, but yeah. So that's what we'll ask for. And we'll see where we go from there. I don't have a problem with trying to put together a meeting with Fuss and O'Neill. I don't know how long it's going to take, especially if we're trying to get all the boards together for it. If we can get something together in January, it'd be great. I don't know how, again, how upset they are about the billing delays. But, I know there's some pressure there. So hopefully we can do it quickly if this is what it takes to get it done. That's my take. Okay. The other issue, and this is the final one on 6C, was the seed grant money. That was another request that had been made from the superintendent. The town apparently got grant money from the state of Connecticut for the school for a special education grant called SEED. And they would like that transferred over. And apparently it hasn't been. And I'm not clear on if there's some sort of problem. So if anybody, Jeff, if you know, or do we have Jim anymore? If there's anything that can be added here on that, I'd appreciate it because I don't understand exactly what's going on.
There's
So-
been a request for RAM. Sorry, Jim. There's been a request for RAM for a portion of that money as well. So there's not been an understanding of whose money is it really and what is it for? And just telling you, RAM has requested a portion of that funding.
So
Okay, that I didn't know about.
Oh,
I just sent to Jim today. I was over in the office getting checks signed. RAM had a board meeting, I believe it was November 17th. The minutes are already posted, where RAM did originally want a part of that money, but then RAM they brought it to the Board of Ed, and the principal basically conceded and said that they understand that the money is not for regional school districts anymore. It's in their minutes. They're going to pursue this. Thank you. They're going to pursue that with, it says at the end, focus is advocating for distribution next year. And it said, it is towns does not anticipate getting any of these funds in this school year. The way the funds were distributed was not beneficial for RAM, no allocation this year. So I think with those minutes, we should be ready to release that money to AES.
Okay,
I think, Jeff, if I could, underline in those minutes though, there's clear, it's not an authorization to forego the money. I think it's an acknowledgement that they're saying regions should work with local towns and school districts, and school districts ultimately make the decision. And there's nothing here under the decision that helps us. So we're not going to be we're out of the money, but next year we have to go after this money. So they're clearly acknowledging they have no use for the money because it doesn't fall into anything they want. But I think there's an undercurrent of saying we really didn't work with the local school here.
And that would be great. And Jody, the only thing that I would ask you on this supplemental money, is it supplemental money that needs to be spent for some purpose that is in addition to what the Board of Finance has already budgeted for? Or is it similar to the ECS funding, which is just to support the overall finances because if you give, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to go like I have a mental problem with both of these, and it's a small amount of money. So it's $4,000. You can give it to the school, but is it for something additional that needs to be provided for the ability to receive those funds? Or is it something that is offsetting the current budget that the Board of Finance is already providing?
Yeah, no, it can't offset. It's called the Special Education Expansion and Development Grant. So it can only be used for new types of programming. It can't be used for anything existing. So we have a plan. Val has already interviewed and met with Taylor, and they've met a tutor to work with. So it has to be used for special education students in some new capacity. So we've already lined up a new tutor to work with students. And we would like to start that in January. That's why we are eager to get the money transferred over. But yes, it cannot be used for something already in the general fund. Unfortunately, that's unfortunate. It's people around the state have been complaining about that.
I have no problem if it's for something supplemental and is going to improve the situation for any given student. So if that's the case, Jim, just make sure that the issue related to RAM is not going to become a problem for us. And then we should sit there and get that money moved so that would go into, I'm assuming you would put that into your grant fund account, bank account.
Yeah, that would go into our grant account. Yes.
And then there's some documentation that's provided to the state as to what was done with that supplemental money.
Correct. We will have to do a report to the state. Yeah.
Okay. Jim, let's sit there and make sure that we don't have any issues with RAM, and let's get that money transferred.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Well, I'm glad we made able to make progress on that at least. Okay, so let's see, where are we? That would bring us to liaison reports. I don't have anything from CIP, and I think we've pretty extensively discussed the Board of Ed stuff, but if there is more from the Board of Ed meeting for those of us who attended, if Liz or Kim, you wanted to chime in with anything to mention, I'm happy to entertain that. But I think it was mostly the bathroom project that we were focused on.
And more financial information.
Right. I meant in the context of like a liaison reporting back from a BOE meeting is what we attended. We're not really liaisons there, but yeah. I just figured that was the most appropriate place if we had more to add on what happened at the Board of Ed meeting. It was an over 3-hour meeting. A lot got done, but most of which isn't really necessarily germane to our other discussions. So
I don't have anything new to add, Rob. I appreciate you asking.
Okay, good. Thanks. I just want to make sure because I'm capable of missing something. I do know at that meeting that Val presented a very preliminary, budgetary outlook, I guess you could say. There was a little presentation there. And again, we've heard it before, actually. The nut of it was about the healthcare costs.
Yeah.
And what they're staring down in terms of the healthcare premium increase. That was communicated at the tri-board meeting. It hasn't changed. Unfortunately, that hasn't gotten any better. So that was my big takeaway from what's coming down the pike, budgetarily, I guess you could say. Putting the bathroom project aside for a moment. That's their ops budget, obviously. Okay. Let's see if we can move this along. Meeting minutes, we don't have them. We hope to get them next time. We'll leave it on the agenda. We also hopefully are getting a recovery of the recording. I'm glad to hear that there's some hope that can be done. So hopefully we do that. That brings us to board open discussion. Is there any other topics that folks want to chat about? Okay, hearing none. Then correspondence. Well, I suppose you could say the email I mentioned earlier was correspondence, but we've addressed it. So I don't have anything further. Does anybody else have anything? Okay. I got nothing there. Very good. Public speak. Let's see. Well, I'll go through. Jody, we've heard from you a lot. Do you have anything more?
Just thank you so much. And I look forward to working with you all. So thank
I'd
you.
also like to send my thanks. I'm really glad you're coming to our meetings and plan to do so in the future. It's great.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Jody.
Great.
In the interest of getting information and understanding what's going on, it's really helpful. So thank you for that. Joanne.
Hey, Rob, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciated listening to the meeting. I've often said that I think it's really important to have, open discussion, open dialogue, even if people don't agree with things. And then I personally just wanted to say to the two new members, that I am really impressed with them. And there was a reason I wanted to see that recording, because after the meeting, I felt a little bad. I know that I get very, I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears in my 4 years on the board. So, to not receive the Republican nod last time, they went with a couple new people. They didn't get seated. And so that was fine. I'm willing to just be a resident that's concerned and kind of sit in these meetings and hopefully impart anything that I do remember, because I think it's important in this transitional time. So I wanted to see that if I came across as negative to either one of you, I personally want to apologize in public, because it was more just making sure that the history of everything going on in the process is just so important while you're picking new people. So, but I'm already really impressed with your thoughtful questions. One thing that I wanted to say too, because it looks like Heather is going to be in the treasurer interviews. I don't think the history, of the treasurer was spoken about too much, but I really had a lot of respect for the outgoing treasurer, because she came in when, just so both of you know, she came in when the town was a mess. And, Mr. McGuire knows that as an accountant and everything. And she really whipped it into shape, got a plan in place and all of that. And so she is a part-time person. I think it would be really important for all of you as a board and I understand that they kept Cheryl on and she really wanted to retire forever, but she did her piece and she did well, and I respect that. But I think you as a board should really ask for her to come to your meetings like the Board of Ed person came, because look how much progress it is when like Jeff McGuire's there, the new finance person for the Board of Ed is there. And then hopefully, years ago, I got involved 10 years ago, the treasurer was always at these meetings. She was always at the Board of Selectmen meetings. She was always at these meetings. I think that it's time for you guys to be a little bit more demanding with the information you receive in packets, information, again, I'm one resident, but I really did put a lot of time and effort into it. So I'm just putting suggestions out there. So I hope that Cheryl was able to be present maybe one day a week. You could email her. And when I found the $40,000 error in the budget last year, it took like a month before I got an email back. And that's only because of the time she was allowing herself. So I just think it's important that you guys decide how, for a part-time person that you're going to give that much money, maybe demand a little bit more time. That's all. Good luck with everything. Oh, and I just want to make sure that I'm not married to that comment of design and build. I remember what Bill said, that there was a contract for Fussin and O'Neill, that they were going to be the oversight agency so that the town didn't have to for the plans. Then there was going to be a bidding process, and then maybe even they were going to oversight something else at the end, but you guys will all figure that out once you see the contract. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Joanne. I'll just say as a comment to that, yeah, I would love to have our treasurer come to our meetings once we have a treasurer. I'd like that very much. I think we need that. Okay. And then, does our first selectman have anything further to add? Jeff,
Oh, you don't need to hear anything more from me. We're good. Thank you for listening to me. I appreciate it. And I like coming to these meetings, and I should have been coming to these meetings beforehand. So I apologize.
No apology necessary. Thanks for coming.
Jeff,
All right. All
It
right.
wasn't meant negative. I just think it's a positive for the town.
Okay.
I mean, I don't like when people take things as negative. It's just a comment,
Right. No,
Thank
that's-
you.
Thanks, Joanne. Okay. I think that's everybody. So unless there's anything further, do we have an emotion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All right. Louise seconds. Very good. Any discussion? Going once, going twice. Very good. Let's have a vote. All in favor of adjourning this meeting, say aye.
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 Heather, did I get an aye?
you did.
I didn't get a harumph out of that guy. All right, great. Thank you. 7-0 to adjourn.
stopped.
Thanks everybody for your time and effort and everything. And we will reconvene in January, late January. But in the meantime, I will fire off. I am sending that email. So we'll see what we
Thank
get
you.
from BOE.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Holidays,
you.
everyone.